welcome on behalf of Southwest and Andrea, who you all know probably is away with her family, celebrating with her extended family the life of her mother, who passed away a couple of weeks ago. As always, we gather here in the name of God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And as a symbol of that, we light the Christ candle that we began during Advent and our Christmas season. And it's just a symbol that God is always here and ready to welcome us. We usually do a land acknowledgement. And in the past week, I've been in conversation with a variety of people, and some of whom say, why do we do this anyway? And some Indigenous people say, why do you just recite words instead of doing something about it? So given my history background, I've been given permission to spend 5 minutes talking about an embarrassing, at least for me, part of Canadian history. Beginning in 1701 in the Maritime Provinces, what would become Canada, but originally was French and British, began signing treaties as settlement moved west from the Maritimes across to the Rocky Mountains. The Europeans signed these contracts with Indigenous people who had no concept of private land ownership. They wrote the treaties in French or English. The translations to the native people were incomplete or ambiguous, but based on the doctrine of discovery, which was the mindset of the Europeans, they were claiming the land as they moved westward to the Rocky Mountains. BC was different. It was largely not settled from the east to the west, but from people coming north for the gold rush. In BC, there were 14 treaties signed before 1850, all in southern Vancouver Island. When Vancouver Island became a crown colony under Britain, Britain just took all the land as crown land. And then in 1858, when the mainland became part of the British Empire, they just took all the rest from the Rocky Mountains to the Pacific Ocean and said, this is crown land. No treaties were signed except those 14 in southern Vancouver Island. In the 1860s, with the huge rush for gold along the Fraser River and up into the interior, the gold seekers and the settlers that followed just expropriated the land that they wanted for cattle ranching and for mining. No treaties were signed. They just took the land. Governor Douglas at the time, on behalf of the Hudson Bay Company, and then later as the governor of BC, set aside Indian reservations, land that he said could not be settled, but were saved for the Indigenous people. As soon as he retired, the next governor came in And because the Indian population had been decimated by smallpox, a half to two-thirds of the native people died. The next governor said, that's too much land, and he cut every reservation at least in half, if not more. When we do the land acknowledgement, we are recognizing that there was systemic injustice to the people that have occupied the land for 10,000 years at least. That's why we do it. So we say at the end of our land acknowledgement, we seek to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with God. In the light of that, what should we do? Well, it's up to you. But one of the things is maybe to be sympathetic of the history of these people, advocate for them, write letters, keep the issue of justice before our government and our